Greetings. Welcome to the Across the Spider-Verse movie review.
We have not all the Funko Pops, we have some of them. Some I didn't bother to get, there were just too many. But today we're going to be talking about probably one of the highest grossing movies made this year. And we'll be, of course, giving our thoughts on it and then showing you some of the pops. And so obviously in the beginning we have no spoilers, and then the second half will be with spoilers.
The visuals are really good, and the animation is really good.
I think they said it took them 4 years to create the movie, so out of 10, what do you give it?
8.
8.5. Each universe has essentially like a different animation style. Each character kind of has its own like distinct style, and then it's very visually appealing.
Well, obviously this is the second movie. The first movie was very successful, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't see the first one in theaters. I saw it like months and months and months later after digital release, and I enjoyed it, but this one really surpassed my expectation. The story is pretty good. Like, the writers know what they're doing, that's for sure.
It does move quite fast, but it flows quite well. Everything's mostly well explained. When I was watching the trailer before, I thought there was going to focus a lot more on Gwen and Miles's romance. It didn't focus too much on that, which I think is a overall good thing. It focused more on multiverse stuff and more action.
They haven't tampered with the script a lot. The writers already had a concrete script in, and because it wasn't tampered with so much, it was executed pretty well. The Spot, I think, is a good villain. I like how they slowly built him up. He went from this like kind of comedic relief to, as we progress with the movie, we start to realize, oh shoot, he is actually like a threat. He's actually a big villain. We highly recommend you watch the movie. If you missed it in theaters, you don't have to wait long for it to come out on digital. So that's it for the non-spoiler section. Now it's time to dive straight into hostile territory.
There were a lot of cameos. There's like one scene where in the spider, whatever it's called, like the society area, you can see like a spider van, and then there's a whole bunch of other Spider-Man in there, and then there's like on top of the van there's like a Lego figure.
Well, speaking of Lego, we did jump from dimension to dimension. Well, the Spot visits different dimensions during the movie. One of the universe he visits is the Venomverse, where he visits Mrs. Chan. And then another one was a Lego universe, which was made by a 14-year-old kid. Dude has more talent than me and is younger than me. He made the entire trailer for this movie in Lego animation, the Lego movie style animation. So if you watch Lego Movie, Ninjago movie, like, he made it in that style. And then Sony liked it so much, they reached out to him and said, "You just want to be part of the movie?" And obviously, he said yes. And so that whole Lego sequence in the movie was made by him.
I don't know what like universe they came from or something, but they have like 6 arms, like actually 6 organic arms.
Andrew Garfield, that was no surprise. We kind of expected him to show up. It was very brief. It was just him holding the police captain. Tobey Maguire also appeared, but he was in the background. There is like one scene you can see Miles talking to Miguel, and in the corner you'll see Tobey Maguire. And Donald Glover, that's another cameo.
There was the cowboy Spider-Man.
Yeah, during the chase.
Oh yeah, and the therapist Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like, and then my uncle, let me guess, he died? Oh, there was a T-Rex Spider-Man. Okay, so the whole canon event thing. So according to Miguel, the canon event is basically an event that has to happen for every Spider-Man in order for them to be Spider-Man. And that would be, obviously, number one, Uncle Ben's death. So you can imagine with that many Spider-Man, if you put all their Uncle Bens together, you get a whole graveyard of Uncle Bens. Another canon event is apparently the police captain of their universe has to die. And so Miguel's dad is the police commander who was going to be... No, he was the police... What was he before? He was just some random... He was a P2. I think that's what... He was a P2. And then he was going to be promoted to captain. And then when Miles realizes that canon event, he obviously realizes, oh shoot, my dad's gonna die. So that's why he went against Miguel. Miguel's belief is basically, you cannot stop the canon events, because without it, the timeline of that multiverse would collapse. And it was then later proven that it can be changed because Gwen's dad is already police captain and she kind of accepted the fate that he would die. But when she returned to her universe, she found out her dad quit from the police because he found out she was Spider-Woman. She understands Miles and she has basically joined his side.
The issue with the canon events is the cause of the canon event is that it was caused by Spot, who wasn't supposed to be there in the first place because he's a interdimensional being now. So if the cause is an interdimensional being and the person who saved the captains, therefore canon event doesn't occur, is Miles, who's an interdimensional being, there should be another cause that causes the captain to die. It should in theory happen later. So that's like kind of a plot hole. The canon events, it doesn't say what order it has to happen. So if it doesn't occur now, it doesn't mean it can't occur later. So could be flawed logic. Miguel could be wrong.
And also, I think Miguel tried to change his canon events because he didn't want to lose the people he loved. I think it was his version of Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane. But it kept failing over and over again, so he became, obviously, that's why he stuck to that belief that you cannot tamper with the canon events. After Gwen realizes that you can change it, she can change the outcome, she rallies up the Spider people from the first movie, like Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, and a bunch of other ones. They form like their mini Avengers team to, I think, number one, find Miles, because Miles actually ended up in the wrong universe at the end, which is why in that universe Uncle Aaron was still alive. But surprise, Uncle Aaron wasn't the Prowler in that universe, it was that universe's version of Miles. So that was like the big twist at the end. Gwen was able to go back to the correct universe where Miles was from, basically made a promise to his parents that she will go find him. Because I mentioned in the beginning, the relationship with Miles and his parents were not the greatest. They don't know he's Spider-Man. At least not yet.
The radioactive spider Miles got bitten by was from Earth 42, which is the Miles that looks like Prowler.
From that universe, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's when Miles became Prowler.
Yeah. So the spider went to Earth 1610, which is where this Miles comes from.
The main universe, yeah.
And that's where he became Spider-Man. So when he tried to go back to his home, the DNA from Earth 42 was scanned, so that's why he went to Earth 42.
The Spot will most likely be the villain for the third movie, which is, by the way, Beyond the Spider-Verse, that's what it's called. So I guess we'll see what happens. But the movie ends on a cliffhanger. We're at an Infinity War period again. So now we're at that gap where we have to wait a whole year, which is, by the way, delayed for the third movie. Just like how we had to wait for Infinity War to Endgame. So we're in that period once again. Beyond the Spider-Verse will come out, I think, in 2027. It apparently got delayed, so that's not good.
The movie's still good even with the cliffhanger, but I'd rather have a little bit of a conclusion.
When I was watching the movie, I was like anticipating a proper ending, so it kind of felt like 2 hours. Like, oh, okay, it's gonna be near the end, and then cliffhanger.
Yeah, so that's pretty much our thoughts on the movie. Now it is time to move on to the Funko Pops. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, I didn't get every single one. So obviously we have the main character himself. Here's Miles. This pop took me so long to find, but that's a story for another time.
It's what I expected from a pop.
To be fair, his suit's very basic, so.
Everyone loved the movie so much that they're going after this pop. This pop is so hard to find. Followed up by another version of Miles, but this one, he is invisible. So this is basically the same mold, except they just made it clear, transparent, if you will. And he is an Amazon exclusive, so if you're wondering where I got it, just look at the sticker, you'll know. Now we have the second most popular pop from this line, and that is Gwen Stacy, or Spider-Gwen. They say Spider-Woman in the movie a couple times. They actually never say Spider-Gwen. She is just as popular as Miles. People are scooping these two pops up like left, right, and center. So if you see it in the store, buy it.
This is everyone's favorite vampire Spider-Man.
Yep, Spider-Man 2099, aka Miguel. This one is also quite popular, trust me. I only saw this once when I bought it at the Mind Games. The next day I went, all gone. So, again, very popular pop. These two aren't too popular. I've seen them quite regularly. So the first one here is Spider-Woman. Honestly, I don't remember much of her contribution.
Can't tell, but is she pregnant in this one?
I think she is pregnant in the movie.
Yeah. In the movie she is. This one I can't. It's hard. I don't think so.
Alright, last but definitely not the least, we have the main antagonist, the Spot.
Spot on his face is definitely smaller. It's not that.
Yeah,
The
black dot is quite big.
Yeah, he's more of a comic relief turned
into actual threat.
Yeah.
If they made like a comic accurate version of him, I think this one would look better. Because the comic accurate version, he actually has eyes in the black dot in his head.
So, that's all we gotta say for this movie.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. If we don't get at least 100 subscribers a day, Ryan is going back into his cage.
Wait, what?